Welcome to the third edition of Roll for Crit's Board Game Battle. On this show, we take two board games randomly selected and pit them against each other to ultimately form a list of our collective favorite board games of all time. But this episode is going to be a little bit different.
That's right, this is the third episode and we've accumulated over 50 games on our list, most of them only having one or no wins at all. So we've decided for the first half, there's still going to be the gauntlet. We get to see, you'll have to wait until the end to see who is going through that. We won't be pulling from this. We'll actually be using a little app on my phone that only will have games we've seen. So this is going to pit ones already named and maybe give some more wins to games that deserve it and some losses to ones that don't really deserve it.
Right, so we're going to hone our list a little bit. No newcomers, we're just going to make that list tight.
Yes, so let's start off. Our first two, Pandemic the Cure. Ooh, this one's very thematic, versus Viral.
Oh, one is about curing, one is about infecting.
Yeah.
It's been so long since we played Pandemic the Cure, but I do remember really liking it. I like Pandemic, I like dice games. I think I'm going to give it to the Cure for me.
I'm going to have to give it to Viral. I think Pandemic the Cure would definitely beat it, but I don't think the Cure.
So to break ties, of course, we go to the Board Game Geek scores. In this case, Pandemic the Cure has a 7.1.
Well, Viral has a 6.4, so this one's going to Pandemic.
All right, Pandemic the Cure.
All right.
What's next?
Our next two, we have The Pillars of Earth. Oh, wow, this one's sort of funny. Versus Jenga.
You have a literal pillar versus figurative pillars. You know, as much as I love me a round of Jenga, I think we'd be laughed out of the industry if I didn't say Pillars of the Earth.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there.
It's a solid Euro title. And
all right, Poker versus Spectre Ops.
Oh man, Poker, I don't know if Poker might end up like so high on our list because it is just a solid classic game. I mean, it's hard to bet against it, pun intended. I don't know, what are you going to say on this one?
I am having a much harder time because I do enjoy Poker a lot, and probably because I just know it really well. But some of the gambling aspects is just like, oh, do I hold or not? Like reading people. When Spectre Ops is also reading, but I really do like the hidden information move. So I think I'm going to have to go with, I'm going to go with Spectre Ops in this one.
I'm going to side with you for the reasons you said. I think there comes a point where I have to say, like, I prefer new school modern board games to old fashioned traditional card games.
I love technically the mechanic of Poker, but I love it when it's actually added to other games.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have Forbidden Skies versus Ghost Stories, so cooperative.
Okay. Ghost Stories is a classic.
One is much easier than the other.
They're both. Forbidden Sky can be challenging, but Ghost Stories is very tough.
Because of that, I'm actually going to give it to Skies. I think Ghost Stories is just, maybe it's because we haven't played in a while, but it just felt so difficult and really so desperate on some dice rolls.
I think maybe partially just for, it also has some rules that are a little bit clunky, but I think I'm going to go Ghost Stories on this one. I think I like it.
All right, I'm a little worried because once again, Forbidden Sky is at 6.1.
Oh yeah, Ghost Stories is a 7.2. Yeah, I'm picking the winners today. I'm going with the popular vote.
No, I'm not going to use my veto on. This is not.
We have vetoes, people. That's another one of the rules.
We just haven't used it yet because we're usually in agreement, or what we fight on is not what we think it's worth. All right, Pillar of Earth has returned, now against Adelos.
Pillars of the Earth is once again going to take it.
All right, Patchwork.
Okay, love Patchwork.
Isle of Skye.
Isle of Skye is fun, but Patchwork for me is one of my favorite, I think everyone's favorite two-player games. It's light, it's cute, you can play it with anyone.
Patchwork is definitely not my favorite two-player game, but it's up there. I think there are a lot of great two-player games I have played, so I am going to choose that over. Mostly because I have a harder time guessing amounts in Isle of Skye. So I know everything in Patchwork. Photosynthesis versus Grackles. The birds or the trees?
I'm going for the trees. Those grackles like the telephone wires.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you
I like the trees. Photosynthesis taking on that one.
Isle of Skye returns against Puerto Rico.
This one's Puerto Rico for me. I think that's going to continue to move up the list. I think
for this one, I'm going to have to agree with you, I think.
All right, Puerto Rico taking it.
All right, classic versus a board game darling. Pandemic Legacy Season 1 versus Poker.
All right, now this is very interesting. I think what did we award over? I think we said Ticket to Ride. We gave over Pandemic Legacy Season 1, which most people probably, I don't know. A lot of people maybe would agree or not agree.
No,
with.
they would not. Pandemic Legacy Season 1, I think was like
Right, it's pretty high.
It's in the
up.
top 5.
It depends on what type of crowd you're asking, I think. But we're, I think, in general, a little more, at least I'm certainly a little less keen on Legacy Season 1 than a lot of people
No,
seem to be.
we definitely are. But I still think it's based on the pandemic system, which I do really think is good. So I'm going to have to give it to Legacy Season 1.
For the sake of also like its influence on the industry, stuff like that. I mean,
So poker.
Do like you make a. You're right. I mean, you're right. This is honestly right down the middle for me. I think I'm just gonna side with you for convenience sake. Yeah, I give it to Pandemic for that.
I think the fact how we were wavering so much on Legacy Season 1 shows how much we're not in agreement with everyone on that.
Yeah, not that I don't think it's bad at all. It's
Okay.
just not a home run.
Pandemic the Cure returns, now against Time Stories. I gotta go Time Stories. While I have a bunch of issues with some of their stories, I think overall I like the idea of how most of it works.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. I tend to enjoy those more thematic games more, and maybe if I had more games of The Cure under my belts, but from what I've played, Time Stories.
All right. These are maybe some smaller ones, but I think still close to our heart. Harbor versus Salem 1692.
I think I'm giving it to Harbor. I feel so funny. Both of these games are kind of like compact versions of other games. There's like your little worker placement, your little hit and roll game.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think Harbor stands out well, while Salem, there are other more compact hit and roll games that do it better.
I agree completely. It's my thoughts exactly. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of hit and roll games, The Resistance Avalon versus High Society. It's Avalon. I think.
Yes, it's 100% Avalon for me. There's no question. I love that game to death.
Oh, now this one. We've got some titans.
Okay, let's hear 'em.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1 versus the Arkham Horror card game. I'm
go ahead.
definitely the Arkham Horror card game. I think there are very few games, personally for me, that would top that.
In this case, I agree, I'm on your side. I like the Arkham Horror card game a lot, and although the LCG format's not my favorite, and just looking at it as a game, I like the.
No, I
elements
agree.
for that.
Honestly, I think if I had to choose weaknesses, that's probably one of the first ones. Also, this is probably where I would have used a veto.
Yeah, I know. So far, this is we each have like one game on there. I think that's our big maybe veto game.
I really am
Resistance
afraid
would have been mine,
When
probably.
Resistance versus the Arkham card game, that's when a fist fight's going to happen. But for now, it's Forbidden Sky versus Harbor.
Forbidden Sky. That's as much as I like Harbor, Forbidden Sky I think has more going on in it.
I'm a little unsure, but I think I'll follow you on this one. I think both of them are fun when they hit the table.
Yeah. Harbor's maybe a little more. I like them both a lot. Forbidden Sky. I guess I tend towards co-op games a little bit.
Oh,
too.
I definitely do, but I definitely think Harbor is. It doesn't have as much of the annoying things, I think.
Yeah, it's not as much.
All right. Unspeakable Words Deluxe Edition versus Dominant Species card game. I like I'm gonna have to go with Unspeakable Words because even though I'm not good with word games, I think they add some twist there, especially when you're low on sanity, you can make up words.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's a fun twist.
Yeah, these are both games that I'm like, yeah, whatever you like. But yeah, Unspeakable Words, I do like a good word game now and then, a good guessing game.
All right, we have the classic Koi Koi
Koi Koi.
versus Ticket to Ride. I think the Titan holds its spot.
Yeah, I think Ticket to Rides, that's our current number one, right?
It is.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride.
All right. Ooh, okay. 12 Realms, the fantasy fairy tale game, versus Madara Act 1, the campaign fantasy game.
We might have even had this matchup originally.
Might
I
have,
don't
but
remember.
I'm definitely going Madara on this one.
Yes, Madara for me too. I mean, it's huge. There's no
right.
comparison there.
Patchwork versus Tokaido.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go Tokaido on this one. I really love the mechanic of you get to keep going till you're first.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to say Patchwork. I think I enjoyed Patchwork a little bit more.
battle begin.
Patchwork's Board Game Geek score is a 7.6.
Takata's still 6.8. You're still the king of winners.
I know what the people like. I speak for the people.
All right, we've got photosynthesis again versus letter jam.
Ooh, Letter Jam for me. I think the mechanics are great.
Letter jam, I'm gonna choose it too because I enjoyed it more. I know it has a bunch more faults, especially when we saw those faults shine when we played it. But I think with the right group, it's such a fun.
Yeah, Photosynthesis, we've said, it was, for me, that game is a victim of overhype.
I don't know what's with this phone app. It really wants these games to be talked about. Pandemic Legacy Season 1 versus Pandemic The Cure.
Legacy
Yeah.
Season 1 takes that, yeah.
8-Bit Box now versus The Cure. That's weird because it's a bunch of little mini games.
I think I might say The Cure, because I feel like 8-Bit Box, it's fun, but there's like some games might be hit or miss.
I think with the core games, I'm gonna if you 8-Bit Box just the core games because we haven't got the expansions, I'm gonna go with The Cure.
Okay, yeah.
There's your win, Cure. Unspeakable Words versus Mice and Mystics.
Mice and Mystics, yeah.
Patchwork versus The End Is Nigh.
Patchwork.
All right, Ticket to Ride versus Twilight Struggle.
Oh boy.
This one's hard.
I hate to say it, or I don't. Ticket to Ride. At the end of the day, as much as I love a good head-to-head two-player game, that can be stressful and a little intense, and sometimes I like something lighter. And every day, if you ask me what do I want to play, the answer is Ticket to Ride.
I think I'm gonna go Ticket to Ride here, but I'm like almost just because you made the decision first. I love both of them. They're both such good games.
I wouldn't begrudge anyone who said Twilight Struggle.
No,
like, if
not
you
at
did a
all.
breakdown of the mechanics, it's probably better.
All right, this is gonna be our last one before we go into the gauntlet. Koi Koi versus Harbor.
Harbor. I gotta give it to Harbor. Koi Koi's got too much pattern, like memorization of sets and stuff that I'm not as crazy about.
I do love Koi Koi, but I think Harbor, as you said, it's a little bit nicer, and it's not. While it is a classic, it's not a classic as well known over here. So like poker, I can name this like the symbols. Obviously, I'm still a little confused about like the Rainy Four versus like the boar, the deer, and the butterfly. I think
Yeah. Hey, you got it. Sounds like you got it all down.
those are the few I remember. But that is our cleanup. We'll probably do more of these. Maybe we'll do this one again because I feel like we'll see how these line up.
sounds
But
pretty
now it's time for the gauntlet.
Yeah, so this week our gauntlet contestant was determined by our Patreon subscribers. We had a poll and patrons voted for Pandemic. The original
this
Pandemic.
is just a pandemic episode.
Yeah, so this was not on our list before. It's going to be entering for the first time, and now we're going back up against random opponents, so it could be up against any of the games that we've played.
Exactly.
Not just the ones on our list already.
All right, so are you ready?
I'm ready. Pandemic,
All right,
what's it going up against?
Pandemic.
And Pandemic, a game that we both definitely have good feelings about.
I mean, for
The
good
original
reason.
one. Yeah.
By the way, we should mention this has 10 games. We put it up against 10.
Right.
So we're going off against Wingspan.
Wow, right out of the gate. Pandemic or Wingspan?
I'm saying Wingspan. I love Wingspan. Sure, Pandemic early on, and especially if I was new to board games, I'd probably say Pandemic because but as of now, gonna go Wingspan.
My gut is like, yeah, Wingspan, I feel like, but part of that, I'm like, am I biased because it's newer and I've played Pandemic so many times, I'm kind of tired of it, but that's okay. If that's the reason, then that's the reason.
I still think I could play Pandemic, but the Wingspan, I feel like there's always fun strategies. I love the art on all the birds. Maybe it is because I haven't played as much Pandemic, but I gotta, yeah.
My brain is gonna break. I think I have to. I think if I was really making the list of like, what do I think are the best games, I think I'd put Pandemic over it. I think we gotta go to the tie break.
All right.
Pandemic has got a 7.6 on Board Game Geek.
That's a hard thing to beat, but finally I win with an 8.1.
I wasn't sure how that would go because I assume a lot more people have played Pandemic, so it might have a bias there, but Wingspan is more recent, which gives it a
Right.
bias too, so.
I will say this, both good games to try and pick up.
Yeah, I agree. All right, what's next for Pandemic?
Which may be a sign with how well Pandemic does in this.
Yeah, number
All right.
2.
One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Pandemic for me. I like One Night is fun, but Pandemic.
I'm gonna agree with you this time.
Yeah, very different genres, but Pandemic is holding up on that front.
All right, we've got Doomtown Reloaded. Now, I do like the Western theme, but
And it's got that poker thing you like.
It does. It does. But this is a case where I think Pandemic simplicity does shine higher than the deck building in it.
Yeah, Doomtown always hurt me a little bit with how complicated some of the stuff in it was. Keywords I will never remember. So yeah, Pandemic on that one.
All right. So that brings us to, this is number 4, right?
That's correct. I'm
Great.
keeping track on my fingers.
All right, we have Clank. This is the original version. It is deck building, which I do love too. But because of the way that has player elimination, which I'm not as big of a fan of, I'm going to give it to Pandemic.
Yeah, I'm still giving it to Pandemic. I love Clank a lot, but Pandemic is, you don't need to argue for it, really. You only need to make an argument if you're against it. Like, everyone knows why Pandemic is great.
Oh, God. We've got The Least I Can Do card game based off the webcomic series, which is pretty much just trying to pick up the most dates. Originally, the core is just you play as guys picking up women, but with expansions, you can play as a guy and pick up guys, play as women, pick up women, or pick up whatever gender you want.
Well, I'm glad that's now part of our list. Yeah, Pandemic for me, too. It's in there, baby. We go to the deepest reaches.
Ooh, okay, well, Dark Stories. Now, I'm going to have to give Pandemic, I think, on this one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, just because I've had a couple times Dark Stories is very hit or miss, but overall, it's still a fun experience, especially if you're traveling, because that is something the driver can participate, because it's just asking yes or no questions.
Yeah, this is a mystery-solving game where it's basically like 20 questions, but with a murder at the heart of it. Like, again, my heart is like, I would rather play Dark Stories because it's just so casual and fun, and I love those kinds of games. But Pandemic, it's, you can
choose any reason, even if it's just to spite Pandemic.
I'm gonna pick Dark Stories just to see what happens then.
Pandemic, if you recall, was at a 7.6. Where's Dark Stories at?
Dark Stories 6.1.
Okay.
Which is, I think, as it should be. I'm glad I fought for it, but I'm also glad it lost. Right,
you don't have to feel bad now.
I messed up our list.
All right, now we have Rick and Morty. The Ricks Must Be Crazy. This is the one with This
is the one where you're traveling between different dimensions. They have levels and stuff.
Right.
Definitely Pandemic.
I'm going to have to give it to Pandemic on this one.
Ricks Must Be Crazy is an interesting game.
There's a lot of tracking. A lot of tracking with the energy system, which is an interesting concept, especially with how the game works of converting it to different worlds. It's just actually probably
they went for something.
Yeah. Pandemic versus Pandemic the Cure. You know we weren't going to get away in this episode without Pandemic the Cure popping up again.
Pandemic is definitely superior to the dice game. Yeah, I say so. Although I bet some people feel differently about that, but for me, I'm pretty confident.
I agree. Definitely agree. We have the DC deck building game Rebirth.
Also, now co-op that version. I gotta go Pandemic. It's classic. It's more streamlined.
Even though I know it's probably gonna lose because I do love deck building and the DC one in particular, I'm gonna go with Rebirth.
All right, you're the villain this time.
Yes, I am. Pandemic, 7.6. What do we got for Rebirth?
DC deck building game Rebirth also is a 7.6. This is unprecedented for us.
We will have to look up a different stat there to find out.
So for now, we're just going to call that one a draw, and we'll figure out how it ends up on our list later on.
I'm glad I fought for it. Now we made things confusing.
Yeah, that's always our goal. All right, last one for Pandemic.
Last one. I hope it's a good one.
Me too.
Wits and Wagers Party.
All right, really fun trivia game. Kind of got a Price is Right thing going on. Really like it. I got to give it to Pandemic. I think it's a stronger title.
I think so too, but we have so many great fond memories of that game. There's some hilarious moments.
Yeah, definitely. And there's new versions of that game out there too.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a fun one to pick up.
All right. So Pandemic, I think, did pretty well.
Yes, it fared pretty well. It was really, that first one was a doozy with Wingspan. That's a tough one. But so we went through some old and some new in this edition. We'll see how they shake out on our list. You can see for yourself at the link in the description down below on our very own website. And as always, we want to hear your comments as to which matchups you agreed with or disagreed with us on. And if you want to vote for who should enter the gauntlet next, check out our Patreon page as a subscriber, just $1 a month. You can help decide what games go into our list. So how's that for fun? Thanks again, everybody, for checking it out. We'll have more board game battles to come in the future. Plenty more to talk about.
Yes, but until that day comes, I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Roll for Crits Board Game Battle.
Here's an idea. Support our Patreon or like and subscribe to this channel for more.
Subscribing gives you a +2 to your charisma stat.